Show, don't tell. Write every day. Write likable characters. I'm sick of seeing bad writing advice like this go viral online. And while most of it sounds good in theory, it's often taken out of context, misunderstood, or taken too far, which can actually make your writing worse. I know what you might be thinking. Wait, don't you give writing advice on this channel all the time? I do, and I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I have worked at the biggest publishing house in the United States and have helped hundreds of authors strengthen their stories and get published. So here's my take on the 7 worst pieces of writing advice you'll find online and what I think you should do instead, including a controversial topic I'll get to at the end. Let's start with the most overused writing advice you've definitely heard before. Show, don't tell. This isn't just the most common writing advice, it's also the most misunderstood. Don't get me wrong, showing does help you craft vivid, immersive scenes and place your reader in your story. Instead of telling us Sarah was nervous, it's more effective to show her biting her nails, tapping her foot, or anxiously looking at the door every 5 seconds. From those gestures, the reader will be able to deduce that she's nervous. Showing is about not spoon-feeding things to the reader, letting them experience the scene and inhabit the character's mind and body. This is all good. But here's where this writing advice often goes wrong. It doesn't mean you should never tell the reader things. Some writers, having heard the advice show don't tell over and over and over again, are terrified that if they tell the reader anything, their story will come off as amateurish. I see it all the time in manuscripts I'm editing. Authors will focus so much on showing that the entire scene simply describes what's going on externally in a scene on the surface. But they fail to reveal what's going on a layer beneath the surface, in the character's mind. The result is a flat, static scene that doesn't land emotionally. Sometimes you should tell us what a character is thinking or feeling, so we understand how they're responding and reacting to the events of the story. In fact, without those moments of interiority, the story will feel one-dimensional. The real skill is knowing when to show and when to tell. Both are critical to effective storytelling, so the advice really shouldn't be show, don't tell, but rather show and tell. I have another video that does a deeper dive into how to show and tell effectively with examples, so I will link that in the description. This next piece of bad writing advice really gets on my nerves, which is saying something because I was an English major. Only read from the canon. I see some version of this in my YouTube comments all the time. People will opine that you should only read the classics like Austen, Dickens, or Tolstoy for examples of how to write well. They claim that books written by contemporary authors are formulaic, all sound the same, and are terrible compared to the literary greats of yesteryear. Like I said, I was an English major, so I definitely love some of the classics, but I couldn't disagree with this advice more. Reading the canon can absolutely help you understand story architecture, effective character development, and how to portray universal, timeless themes. But so can reading modern literature. There are so many authors writing today that deserve your attention. Here are some of my favorites. If you're convinced that there's no author writing today whose work would interest you, I promise you just haven't read enough yet. I think this advice is especially harmful if you're planning to publish your book. Because if you only read classic novels, you're not going to have a robust understanding of the genre conventions, literary styles, and themes that are resonating with readers today. After all, most readers going to the bookstore aren't picking up Wuthering Heights for their next beach vacation. So instead of limiting yourself to classics, I recommend reading widely from both canonical and contemporary authors. There is so much to learn about effective storytelling from across generations. The next piece of bad writing advice is everywhere, but is one of the fastest ways to burn out. Write every day. Let me be clear, writing consistently is important. In fact, most of the best-selling authors I work with do have some kind of writing routine or habit in place. But here's the key. It has to be sustainable for you, and every schedule looks different. Writing every single day simply isn't realistic or feasible for everyone. And it doesn't serve everyone's creative process. For writers who are managing other responsibilities or who have personal circumstances that don't allow them to write every day, not being able to adhere to this schedule can lead to guilt and shame. That's the opposite of productive and could lead you to give up your writing practice altogether, the last thing we want. So if writing every day just doesn't work for you, build a system that does. And don't feel guilty about it. Maybe you write for 1 hour, 3 days a week. Maybe you carve out time on the weekends only. I even have one client who binge writes in 6-hour bursts once a week. It doesn't matter when you write, only that you write consistently. And if you just can't hit your writing goal one week, don't beat yourself up. In fact, sometimes taking a break from your story can be incredibly creatively energizing. It doesn't matter how you get to those final words, the end, just that you do. The next piece of bad writing advice sounds harmless and like common sense, but can actually weaken your character development. Make your protagonist likable. It's a common misconception that your protagonist needs to be likable for readers to connect with them. They don't. They just need to be intriguing. Sometimes, in an attempt to write a likable character, writers will sacrifice depth, which is what actually makes us connect with a character. If your protagonist is too nice, too perfect, too flawless, they won't feel authentic, and we actually won't like them at all. So don't be afraid to show their flaws, insecurities, secrets, vulnerabilities, their dark side. That's what makes them human. Think about it. Some of the most iconic protagonists in fiction are anti-heroes. Think Patrick Bateman in American Psycho, Joe Goldberg in You, Dexter Morgan in Dexter. These characters aren't likable at all. They're serial killers after all, but they're magnetic. We're hooked by their voice, their intensity, their drive, their layers. Now, I'm not saying you should make your protagonist a serial killer, unless that's what you're going for, in which case, by all means, go ahead. But you shouldn't confuse likability with flatness. We don't have to be your character's best friend, just someone who wants to follow along their journey. This next piece of bad advice is something I wish every author could immediately unhear and unlearn. Write what's trending. These are the people who are seeing the rise in romantasy right now and saying, see, this is what you have to write if you want to sell. But this is simply not true, and every publishing professional will tell you not to try to chase trends. Here's the fundamental problem with this advice. Publishing is slow. Really, really slow. By the time a genre goes viral on Book Talk, it'll be too late for you to catch that wave. Even if you can write the draft quickly, by the time you get a literary agent, then get a book deal, then see the book on the shelf, it'll probably be at least 2 years from now. Alternatively, if you self-publish quickly, you're competing in a saturated market with other writers who are trying to chase the exact same trend. So rather than writing what's trending, write what you feel passionately about. Write the story that's calling to you. The story only you can write. Don't force yourself into a niche genre just because Book Talk says sexy meteorologist romances are trending right now. Because if you don't love what you're writing through and through, readers will feel that. That doesn't mean you should ignore trends totally if they're working to your advantage. If you genuinely love a genre that is hot right now, go for it. But don't get caught in the whirlwind of trends, because after all, winds change. Trust that the right readers will find your story regardless. Because what's ice cold right now might be red hot when you go to publish. The next piece of bad writing advice, ironically, usually comes from people who don't have a lot of credibility in the writing world. Self-publishing is the only viable path. The internet loves extremes, so it's no surprise that you'll see people on Twitter, YouTube, or Reddit proclaiming that traditional publishing is dead and self-publishing is the only way forward. Self-publishing is certainly a viable path and is becoming increasingly mainstream, especially with indie authors seeing a lot of success on social media. But traditional publishing still has massive reach as well and can help authors get bookstore placement, film deals, and high-profile book club selections. The reality is that both self-publishing and traditional publishing are totally viable paths, and each comes with trade-offs. This advice about self-publishing being the only way forward often comes from people who feel they've been burned by publishing industry gatekeepers. Perhaps they queried literary agents and got rejected, so they feel bitter about the traditional publishing process. Then they go online and tout that it's impossible to break into traditional publishing and that no literary agents want debut authors. But that's simply not true. I've personally worked with many debut authors who have gone on to sign with top agents and get book deals with major publishers. Rather than pitting self-publishing against traditional publishing, I wish we could talk about these two paths existing in the same forest harmoniously. Some people select this path, others select that path, but everyone has a nice hike. In fact, there are more and more authors choosing to selectively self-publish certain books and traditionally publish other books. Choosing your publishing path is a completely personal decision that depends on your priorities, your timeline, and your creative strengths. Not to mention that there are even more ways to publish now than ever before, including publishing with a small press, hybrid publishing, or publishing via a serial platform. If you're not sure yet which path is right for you, don't worry, you have time. Just don't let loud voices online pressure you one way or another. This last piece of writing advice is one that hits home for me and is the most controversial. Replace editors with AI. The writing community is torn on AI. While the traditional publishing industry has been very reluctant to adopt it, and most publishing industry professionals condemn the use of generative AI for any creative function, writers, especially some here on YouTube, seem more curious about the capacity for AI to help them write their books. I've seen authors talk about using AI to brainstorm plot points or develop characters or even draft scenes. And now authors are using it during the editorial process, plugging in their manuscript into a chatbot and asking it to improve their writing. Some programs will even give you an AI-generated score or report evaluating aspects of your writing and story. So why work with a human editor when an AI program can give you feedback on your manuscript instantly, either for free or for a negligible fee? I'm biased on this because I'm a professional book editor, but I truly believe that AI cannot replicate what a human editor brings to the table: nuance, context, intuition, and a deep understanding of story. We understand subtext, not only what's on the page, but also what's not on the page. We understand how to bend voice and style and experiment to literary effect. We know what readers of your genre will expect to feel when they engage with your story, and what beats and choices will deliver that experience. We're able to identify what thought-provoking questions your story is raising and what themes will resonate. Ultimately, we help you see how readers will respond to your story, both positively and negatively, and how to make it even more emotionally powerful. Can an unfeeling AI chatbot tell you how to write a story that will make readers cry or laugh or run and tell all of their friends that they need to read it immediately? You tell me. You'll find no shortage of writing advice online, including here on my channel, but don't take all of it at face value. Ultimately, writing is an art form. There is no one-size-fits-all approach. So take the advice that resonates with you and throw away the advice that doesn't. Speaking of which, there are only 3 pieces of writing advice I actually think make a difference and matter. So click this video where I reveal the best writing advice that will actually transform your story. Thanks so much for watching, and happy writing.